It starts with their voices. So those are some of the breakthroughs in India we have made, and we have this comprehensive school safety. And prior to Asian Ministerial Conference, lots of consultations were done, and these were the voices of children, where priority 3, that invest in DRR for resilience. They said, even the very communication you talk about DRR, let it be friendly to us. Don't talk very big language we don't understand. Talk in the level where we can understand. Then the children's expectations on schools and their villages was there. This is the mantra I would like to give all of us. 0D and 0D. Whenever you talk of poverty, disasters and climate change, the first 0D stands for 0 deaths. Now, Thiruji said that you can't achieve it. You can't achieve if you don't want to. If you want to, you can. You can. And the second 0D stands for 0 days lost in school by a child. Sir, did I contradict you anyway?
Of course, you misunderstood me thoroughly. I never said it can't be achieved.
Okay. Because the numbers you are saying were scary.
I never said.
That's the reality. Yeah, I apologize. So, but the mantra is 0D and 0D, 0 deaths, which are all preventable, because all disasters are human-made. And then 0 days lost in a school, because that's where children don't feel comfortable if there is no school. In Kashmir, 6-month schools were closed in 2014. Recent disasters, people were saying 30 days to 40 days schools were closed. That's not a good sign. So we can manage to open it back if we have good planning. So we are talking of home, school, home as the approach. Again, children moving, crossing roads in urban areas, rural areas, crossing ponds, etc. We have so many evidences of how children go through risk when they go. So how do we make sure that they are safe at all times? This is one model that we use, child-centered DRR. I don't want to explain this anymore. I'm going to close it. The mantra is HELP, DRR and CCA. HELP has got all the lifeline areas, beginning with health, nutrition, water, sanitation, hygiene, education, livelihood and protection. All the issues we spoke from morning till now. This is quite like a summary slide. However, key question is, how do you protect the development investments we make? This is where I think we really fall behind. Protecting the development gains and seeing them as windows of new opportunity. So that is our HELP model, and the key outcomes relate to families. And my last points are recommendations to this House, that if you can promote and practice inclusive risk and vulnerability informed planning, because in planning we do not put them first. We plan as if no risk will come, and where we do development, disasters do happen, and include these vulnerable groups much more. If we can unify end poverty with inequality and climate change, then it's much more holistic. So how do we see that as an epic in the country? The adopt education and comprehensive school safety. We have had good models with Tamil Nadu SCERT, Orissa SCERT we are working with, and then Assam is also engaging with us. So this is where technical agencies can collaborate with government institutions to build that new perspective, and then enabling representation of children and youth in all levels, and child rights. This morning UNICEF colleagues said about child rights. Child rights, poverty, climate change are integral part of this. So child rights talk of survival, development, protection and participation. And in development we have education, health, nutrition, wash and all other areas. So thank you for your very kind attention. I want to close with this line: how do we transform the next generation as champions? And these are the 3 offerings that we can give. Children cannot wait, education won't wait, and climate also won't wait for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ray Kancharla, for your presentation and for highlighting the point that we should develop a child-centered response system in our disaster management system, and how children and youth are agents of change in this disaster management framework too. Now let us listen to the next speaker of the day, Dr. James Matthew, Deputy Director General, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, would be speaking to us about the need for strengthening institutional capacity assessment and development down to the local level. Mr. Matthew.
Can we keep it? Good evening. I think it's already we are reaching 17 hours. Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity. And I will just quickly discuss about the National Indicator Framework, which we are formulated in the last 6 months. We have finalized the national indicators of Sustainable Development Goals. There are two types of indicators. Basically, there are global indicator framework, which has been adopted by UN General Assembly in July 2017, which consists of 232 global indicators as proposed by UN Statistical Commission. We found that global indicators are not as it is, cannot be adopted for the national indicator purpose, national monitoring. We need something totally different. And therefore, we decided to consult all the stakeholders, including a public consultation, as was already mentioned by Dr. Jain. We developed a set of indicators after consulting with all the ministries, UN organizations, state governments, and all stakeholders, and then we finalized the indicator framework. Still, it is, unfortunately, it is at the draft stage because it is not yet formally approved. We had finalized it in September last year, and we are waiting. I hope it will be approved in a few days. So this one, then I will be sharing. So I don't want to discuss all these things. The National Indicator Framework has about 300 indicators, and this has 15 nodal ministries, 56 data source ministries, and they are interconnected, and we have to find new data sources for getting information, because most of our data are depending on surveys, sample surveys. In a large country like India, we have a limitation of administrative data, means we do not have a good administrative data. We have to conduct sample surveys, and most of the sample surveys are conducted once in 5 years. Now, luckily, NFHS is being done once in 3 years, and census once in 10 years. So these are the major data sources. So the purpose of SDG monitoring, we have to do it. We should have a quick, immediate result should be known. So for that, we need maybe more data at a more better frequency level and a better disaggregated level. The principle of no one left behind, that is SDG. In statistical terms, that means data at the lowest disaggregated level. So this, it is, I'm not sharing the indicators now, but I will just come to the, these are the new data, existing data sources are basically administrative data, which are required to be improved. And then statistical surveys like NSSO, NFHS, SRS, by RGI, then census. Then we are, new data sources are PL, that is periodic labor force survey being conducted by National Sample Survey, which is expected to give a continuous estimation for on labor statistics. And then the economic census, then time use survey we are planning in the immediate future. All approvals are there, now only this date is to be decided. Annual survey of service sector is proposed, and these are all new data sources, but again, these are not enough. We have to improve our data system. Then in the National Indicator Framework, I'm talking about the total framework. These are the challenges we are challenges we are seeing. Basically, the measurement, definitional, because everybody define an indicator in a different way, so we are developing the metadata. So we have already requested all the ministries to, we have made a sample metadata format. We have communicated the format to the ministries along with the to sample metadata, model metadata, and then we requested the ministries to formulate the metadata, proper definition, what is the, if it's a proportion, what is the numerator, what is the denominator, what is the data source, periodicity, disaggregation. All this information will be maybe 2 to 3 pages of metadata for each indicator. This we intend to share to the state governments also, so that there will be a national standard on data. And we are also planning baseline data in the immediate future, immediately after the indicators are approved. We are working on the baseline data. Then just particularly for SDG 1, now we have a lot of measurement problems, challenges. Like 1.1, it is not mentioned in the slide. 1.2, poverty in all its dimensions. Now, we do not estimate multidimensional poverty in India till now. So, that figures are not available. That is a challenge. Then again, in the same 1.2, they are asking for disaggregated data for poverty of men, women, children, like that. Now, again, we are depending, poverty data is estimated by the 5-yearly NSSO survey, where the survey unit is a household. So, we cannot go below household for estimation. So, we cannot have within the household poverty. That means if a woman may be eating lesser than what she requires, if the household may be above poverty line, but the female in the household may be starving. So that type of estimation we cannot do with the present data. Then in the 1.3 we see the nationally appropriate social protection systems and measures for all, including source. This one, I think somebody has to define it, because we do not have a clear picture on this one. What are the nationally acceptable, appropriate social protection system for India? Then the biggest problem is 1.4. This one, I don't know how to measure this one. See, it talk about equal rights to economic resources, as well as access to basic services, ownership and control over land and all other forms of property, inheritance, natural resources, appropriate new technology, financial services, microfinance. Everything is included in one. See, in the MDG it was easy for measurement, because normally MDG talk about only one particular target, so indicator can be easily developed. But in this case, if somebody asks me down the line after 5 years, whether some public asks the government whether the government has achieved a SDG 1.4, I don't know how to answer that question. So there are a lot of components included. We have tried to include, like for example, in the basic services, we have attempted to include only few basic services in the national indicators. This is proposed national indicators I am talking. We said safe drinking water, sanitation, and then electricity, and homeless population, that's housing. And this only 2 or 3 items, but there are a lot of basic services are to be included. So we want a suggestion from the August audience whether what are the we have to have a close group. And then vulnerability to climate, then vulnerability, like sir said, that measurement, it is not easy to measure statistically. Now, just one more information, this is moving together with the states. The MOSP is developing the indicator framework that we are, as it was already mentioned, an SDG dashboard is under preparation. The technology will be transferred to the state governments, and there will be annual reporting by the MOSP and NIDI on the progress. And the states, we had discussed with all the state governments and union territories in the September, October, November last year. We had organized 5 regional workshops. We discussed with all the state governments and shared the national indicator, draft national indicators with the states for developing their own state national state indicators with making suitable modification, but more or less it should be the national framework can be used as a basis for the states. That we have already shared and we have discussed, and many states are progressing very well in this aspect. And we requested the states to strengthen the data systems to ensure regular data flow, because data has to come from the state for national monitoring, and enhance indicator framework with the more monitorable indicators, and using technology to facilitate data flow, data analysis, and we also highlighted the requirement of strengthening the state system of statistics collection. Now, one more issue is that actually, as I said, the statistical monitoring is not the only solution for SDG monitoring. It is only one component, one part. We need a comprehensive evaluation framework on all the, like for example, 1.4 I mentioned here. But to combine everything, we should have some kind of an evaluation framework which can be based on the statistical